My name is Suhail Kapoor. I'm an EVP and co-founder of Absolute Data Research and Analytics. Absolute Data is a KPO, that's a knowledge process outsource company. We specialize in providing marketing insights to business leaders via advanced marketing analytics and market research. We have operations in India, the US, and now expanding to other regions as well, like Singapore, Dubai, and Europe. Most of the companies that we work with are multinational corporates based in the US or in Europe who are trying to get better insights into how they should be making marketing decisions. And Absolute Data, with his expertise and his team of professionals, helps them do that. So we have local experts who are domain experts, people from the industry, people who have been analyzing data from that industry for many years, as well as a team of delivery specialists in India who crunch numbers, who do data mining, and who do market research. And a combination of these offshore and onshore resources basically allows us to cater to clients' needs much better. That could be in terms of quality of insights, it could be in capability, it could be in cost. So that's in a nutshell kind of what our business model is. So Absolute Data started its journey in around 2001. Three partners got together. I'm one of those partners. We started as an operation in India who was servicing clients in the US. It's called business process outsourcing, so that's how we started. And we were servicing other market research companies who were working for end clients in the US. Over time, as we increased our offerings, both downstream and upstream, we started to do more advanced analytics, more data collection, so both on the downstream as well as in the upstream, and we became more of a full service market research supplier. Our numbers grew from a startup of 3 people to 10 people in year 1 to around 30 people in year 2, and slowly over time now we have around 300 plus people spread across India and the US. Currently our focus is on more cutting edge advanced marketing analytics and market research. So when companies come to us with problems, it's usually things which they cannot solve in-house or with their current vendors. So that's one type of thing we specialize in. We also specialize in doing a lot of large-scale outsourced analytics. So if there's a company and it's doing analysis of, let's say, multiple brands across multiple geographies, and they need the volume of analytics power behind it, then Absolute Data comes and takes care of that. Over time, we've had our challenges and we've had our successes. In terms of challenges, typical challenges of growing, of course, that was there, as any company has, but also challenges of selling our services to foreign markets. No one sitting in the US or Europe is comfortable talking to someone who's sitting in India, especially when it's about your hardcore marketing problems and issues. It's okay, calling tech support for a product, but not when it comes to touchy-feely and especially business strategic questions. So that was a hard sell in the beginning, but over time, as we've established our credibility, we've also hired people both in India as well as in the local geographies. That's also gone away. Technology has also helped us along the way. Clients are much more comfortable now receiving, for example, PowerPoints on email and doing WebEx seminars or teleconference or video conferences much more than they were 10 years ago when we started. So those are all good things which help flatten boundaries between countries, and now really clients don't care whether we're in India or the US or Europe, as long as the insights that they receive are very good. So that's kind of part of our story. So Absolute Data has come a long way in the last 10 years. We grew from 3 people to 300 that we are right now. And we see this as a turning point for us. We're here on the J curve, and it's got a steep increase from here on. We actually raised funding from Fidelity Growth Partners around 3 months ago, and the objective of raising that funding was to expand into new geographies, was to hire experts in their areas of marketing expertise, and basically grow. And why? Because our clients have been demanding more than we can supply. In general, the analytics market is very hot these days. The need for analysis is very widespread, and CMOs, CFOs, CIOs in organizations, they're prioritizing analytics as their number 1, 2, and 3 priorities. And the supply is very short, so you do not have a good set of skilled manpower who can give insightful analytics in these geographies, or even in India for that matter. So we're actually recruiting talent, training them very well, both here as well as in the local geographies where we operate, and supplying that talent to our clients who can then utilize that. So that's where we see the future, that analytics is it's like a baby which is just learning to take steps. It has a great future in front of it, and we as Absolute Data, with our presence in India and in the US and multiple geographies, we are in a sweet spot where we think we can take advantage of that situation and grow from here. So we see ourselves at least doubling every year, from 300 to between 550, 600 next year. That's 2013, and then similarly we'll go into 4 digits in 2014 and from there on. So the size of the analytics industry is a little hard to define because people define analytics differently. The way we define analytics is data crunching, mining, and insights based on looking at data, running algorithms, running predictive models, and then deriving insights from that. A lot of companies also define analytics as secondary business research, market research. So there's a whole range of analytics. It also extends beyond marketing to supply chain, to financial analytics, to operational analytics, etc., etc., HR analytics. So it's a very vast field. Now, right now, our current focus is on marketing analytics, and that itself is quite big. Estimates go from anywhere from 10 billion to 80 billion in terms of revenue potential, but then again that depends how you define it, and this market is growing every day. More and more companies are realizing the need for analytics, so the market itself is growing. Not only is there a vast market, but the market itself is growing. A lot of companies also do this work in-house, so that's not counted in the revenue of analytics. And as you start outsourcing and growing your in-house needs, then again the size of the pie increases. So that's why we are so bullish on this market right now, and why we see that Indian companies are actually very well poised to take advantage of this because of the available skill power, manpower, and the need gap that's there in the market right now. So we started Absolute Data back in around 2001, and at that time taking risk was a little more difficult than it is now. Now myself and my partners, we were able to take that risk because we had worked for a number of years. Our spouses were working, maybe some personal reasons helped us along, and we also stumbled upon this idea, or we came up with this idea which we thought had great potential. So we took the plunge, but many of our friends and colleagues at that time were not able to take that plunge because the consequences if you failed were quite dire. The job market was not as good as it is now, so they didn't do it. Also, the support available was much less. The telecom costs were very high, technology was not as available, support services in terms of virtual corporate staff, for example, was not available. So it was harder to set up a business. Now, 10, 12 years later, a lot of those things have gone away. There are many more opportunities available, especially in India, especially for youngsters. So, if an opportunity does not work out, it's much easier for them to try another opportunity or to go back, to the corporate world and get a job. So when we were starting Absolute Data in 2000, 2001, at that time, exports was a very big focus for India. It still is, but at that time it was even more. So the government had certain policies which helped us actually set up our business, which was focused on the world outside India, in fact more than domestic business, and that was, for example, income tax benefits. So income tax was not chargeable to companies. There were certain service tax benefits which were there. There were certain areas in Delhi where we operate which were incentivized for people to make investments in. So we did that, and that was definitely something that helped us. At the same time, the Indian government is not known for being the smoothest, in terms of operation. So we had our difficulties as well in terms of getting approvals and in terms of speeding things up. It took time, but overall, it was not a big challenge for us to open a company and operate very efficiently. Also a lot of the approvals and a lot of the domestic, tax issues were taken care of because we were doing overseas business. A lot of that was taken care of. The government had a scheme called the Software Technology Parks of India, and we were actually the STPI. We were actually a company enrolled in the STPI scheme, which is now finished. But even now, 10 years later, our other group companies are part of something called the SEZ, which is the Special Economic Zone, which is again an incentivized area where we get, it's like a customs-free zone where we get income tax benefits and other benefits from the government, which helps us in our business in a financial sense. So, in that sense, the government has been very supportive of exports in general, and we have definitely benefited from that. Let me tell you about how my impression of Brand India has changed over time since we started the business. So when we started the business back in 2000-2001, Brand India was it was big, but it was more known for IT, tech support, call centers. That's basically what it was known for. In our business, which is very high-end, touchy-feely, analytics and decision-making consulting, India was nowhere on the picture. It was only local firms, maybe some European, some Japanese firms, and that's it. Over time, as Indian firms have gone, higher in the value chain, companies like ours and other knowledge process companies, the respect for India and the respect for Indians in those areas has actually gone up quite a bit, and that's a good thing for us. So now we don't really have to sell India. Earlier our PowerPoints used to be 20 pages, out of which the first 5 pages were India has a high literacy rate, India has great engineers, India has great infrastructure and all of that, which we don't have to talk about anymore at all, because people know India, they respect India, and they're more worried about the content of India, not the status of your roads, which was a challenge, but now it's a good thing. Going forward, I think now especially China and India are seen as the economies of the future. There are certainly challenges now as far as perception goes, but again, as I'm saying, that perception is changing for the better, and both China and India are seen as leaders of the future, both in terms of, not only in terms of output and export and import and economy, but even in terms of, intellectual capability and thought leadership in the world. And I think that's going to increase over the next, 20 to 30 years. It's not going to happen in this decade, I don't think, but in the next 20 to 30 years, definitely, I think the status of India in the world, in even the general consumers or general citizens' mind, will be much more respected than it is right now.